So, have you ever just walked by a motorcycle store and noticed all those shiny new motorcycles just sitting there, all lined up, ready to roll, but nobody's buying them? Ever wonder what happens to those motorcycles that aren't sold? Do they just sit there in the shadows? Do they get crushed? Or do they become furniture? Okay, that last one's a joke, but seriously, where do brand new, unsold motorcycles go? Well, today, we're going to find out. And trust me, the truth is way more surprising than you think. Some of it's weird, some of it's smart, and some of it just plain sad. So buckle up and let's ride into the world of forgotten motorcycles. Okay, so imagine this. You enter a huge, echoing warehouse. It's hushed, dust is flying around, and you can see it in the beams of the light. And all around you, hundreds of brand new motorcycles, still shiny, still flawless, just sitting there. No drivers, no noise, just waiting. This happens, guys. When dealerships can't sell a bike and the season closes, guess what? That bike is no longer brand new in motorcycle years. It's now known as a leftover model. Now, let me walk you through the dealership for a second. The sales staff has gone home, and sitting in the back corner, half shrouded in a dusty cover, is a bike that never got its day in the sun. The sales manager, he knows it's back there. He sees it every morning, every evening, and every time he sighs because the latest shipment just came in and there's no space for it. That's when the desperation begins. He starts throwing it into every deal like a bonus toaster. I bought both of my victories as leftovers. The dealer and manufacturers offer incentives and discounts. In both of my purchases, they gave extended service contracts, free accessories, and 0% financing. That made it worth more than just the discounted price, which was around 15% off current year models. But when dealerships have room for new bikes, what do they do with the old ones? Some of them get taken back and shipped off to giant storage warehouses. These are sort of like parking lots for abandoned dreams. Row upon row of unsold machines just hanging out. It's kind of sad and kind of cool at the same time. But there's a catch. These bikes don't just hang around forever. Oh no, they're waiting for the next thing. And that thing might shock you. So before that, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel as well. Now, off to the shocking part. So, here's something you likely didn't know. Some of those unused bikes, they just returned to the dealers. But with a little twist, they're heavily discounted. Yep, like big time discounted. It's a clearance sale. The bike is essentially still new, but it's from last year. And to make place for the newest and the greatest, dealers knock prices way down. Sometimes even by thousands. You want this 2024 model? I'll knock off $500 and throw in that brand new 2022 Cruiser out back. The customer raises an eyebrow. Wait, you're giving me two bikes? It sounds insane, right? But it happens. Dealerships sometimes bundle bikes like it's a buy one get one at Walmart. Why? Because even selling two bikes for the price of one is better than that dusty thing sitting there collecting cobwebs. So, if you ever need a motorcycle but don't want to empty your wallet, ask the dealer. Hey, you got any leftovers in the back? You could end up cruising off with a fantastic bike and a great deal. And in the world of motorcycles, time is the enemy. A brand new 2022 bike in 2025? That's a dinosaur with no miles. But that's not even half of it. What do you do when the clearance sales fail? Oh yeah, then things start to get strange. So here's the deal. If a dealership can't sell a bike, sometimes they swap it with another dealership, such as selling Pokemon cards, but with bikes. For example, the dealer might say, take my two XS Cruisers and I'll take one of your sport bikes that may actually sell in my city. It's an entire behind-the-scenes swap. Bikes travel from state to state, or even from nation to nation, all without ever leaving the market. And you know what? Sometimes a bike that no one wanted in one city becomes wildly popular in another, as the crowd and location matter when selling a particular type of bike. A snowmobile ain't gonna sell in Florida, and a scooter not so likely to be flying off the shelves in the Alaskan wilderness. So dealers play this massive motorcycle game, attempting to pair the correct bike with the correct buyer at the proper location. But some bikes, they just don't fit anywhere, and that's when things go down the drain. Here's a fun little trick some dealers play. It's called a demo bike magic. If a bike doesn't sell, the dealer may ride it themselves. Just a little. Just enough to say, look, it's a demo unit now. Boom, you get a heavy discount on it. Now it's used even if it only has 50 miles, because people love the word discount. Even if the bike is new and hardly touched, referring to it as used gives customers the impression they're scoring a bargain. Now, that's called marketing, baby. But not all unsold motorcycles suffer this fate. While some of them end up in a crash, not on the roads, but on their value. Okay, this is where things kind of get heartless and cruel. When a manufacturer or dealer just can't sell some bikes, they take them to auction. And let me tell you, motorcycle auctions are crazy. Not just collectors and enthusiasts. Not just big rental companies, exporters, and even parts dealers. Everybody's looking to buy bikes dirt cheap. They're brand new, still in the crate, and sitting in a showroom for more than 2 years just gathering dust. And the pathetic thing, often these bikes will sell for a fraction of their original retail price. Picture a $12,000 motorcycle selling for $4,000, simply because nobody wanted it. Kinda sad, huh? That's not even the worst destiny. Nope. There's one way left that's even crazier, and it may shatter your heart. Alright, grab some tissues. This one's hard. Sometimes, if a bike simply refuses to sell, and it's been sitting for far too long, the maker may choose to do something which you might have never thought of. Destroy it. Some shops around here tear the bike down and piece it out. They wait till spring and rebuild it better. Much better. Then they sell it for a higher price. Yes, brand new, unused motorcycles off to the crusher. Why? Well, consider this. If they flood those bikes into the market at rock-bottom prices, it disrupts the value of the brand. People won't pay full price for new bikes next year if they believe they'll depreciate like that. So instead, they eliminate the unsold bikes. There are videos on the internet of forklifts crushing motorcycles, or worse, humongous machines tearing them into tiny little pieces. Good bikes destroyed. The dreams of many were crushed just like that. But hey, it's not all bad. Some motorcycles, they receive a second life. Let's discuss the game of transportation. Because if bikes don't sell locally, and even being packaged together fails, they get on the road. Or at least more precisely, get loaded onto a truck and transported across the country to see if they can catch someone off guard with them. Some dealerships partner with wholesalers who do nothing but buy leftover bikes and ship them around like wandering machines. You've got bikes that were born in California ending up in a random shop in Kansas. Bikes made for warm weather are sitting in chilly climates with snow tires and heated grips bolted on. It's the same thing as dressing up a lizard in a tuxedo and expecting it to be the prom king. But the craziest thing? Occasionally these tactics pay off, because some unsold bikes get packed up, shipped overseas, and sold abroad. Why? Because what's outdated somewhere could be brand new somewhere else, particularly in regions where motorcycles are a way of life. So that beautiful leftover bike from 2 years past, it could be the best thing ever in a city halfway across the globe. These bikes become showroom rejects and then turn into the king of the roads abroad. That's kind of great, right? From showroom rejects to someone's everyday ride. That's a happy ending. It's a matter of timing and place. But when that still doesn't cut it, well, now we're getting into the dark side of bike land. Let me explain to you about rebranding. Oh yeah, some bikes, they don't just get relocated, they get a name change. A large manufacturer has 500 excess units of a low-volume model. Instead of sitting ducks, they stealthily relabel it with a new name or special edition, new paint color, maybe a badge switch. Instantly, the 2022 XC900 is now the Midnight Edition XC900R. Same bike, new face, lots of hype. Limited editions are popular, even when they're lipstick on a pig. And dealers, they hype it up like it's a collector's item. This isn't your average XC900. This one, only 500 were made. Midnight black with red stitching. Limited run. Once it's gone forever. Boom! Then they sell out in 3 weeks. That's the power of real marketing. If you know your way through words, then you could sell anything at any price. Meanwhile, some of the remaining bikes get the ultimate facelift. We're talking custom shops, artists, gearheads, transforming these unsold bikes into a one-of-a-kind machine. Think of a bike that no one wanted being transformed into a post-apocalyptic Mad Max monster, or a neon street race monster, or a retro cafe racer full of style. Yeah, those forgotten motorcycles, sometimes they receive the glow-up of a lifetime, and that is what we refer to as a comeback. Now, let's talk about the secret buyers you never hear about. Ever wonder where those weird, rarely used bikes on eBay or Facebook Marketplace pop up? You know, the ones advertised as brand new, sitting for years, still in the crate. Here's the reality. Some of those bikes never should have entered public sale in the first place. Police forces, government fleets, military orders, training schools. They'll quietly purchase lots of leftover bikes in bulk through backdoor arrangements. Not promoted, not publicly noted. Just a spreadsheet, a wire, and 50 bikes vanish from the dealership's stock and reappear with flashing sirens or camouflage wrapped on them. Later, when those groups sell them off, they reappear in the used market like specters. Low mileage, excellent condition. Crazy story, right? I bet you guys never would have thought of this angle. So yeah, that weird sale you saw on Craigslist, it might have originally been a government-distributed, basically ghost bike. Pretty awesome, huh? But if that's awesome, wait until you hear what the collectors do. We're going into the land of motorcycle collectors at this point. These are the individuals who purchase leftover bikes specifically, not to drive them, but to preserve them. Kind of like a museum for the two-wheelers. They think even the most floppy flop bikes made years ago are worthy of a home. Perhaps it's the final year of a brand that's on the verge of dying off, or perhaps it's an odd color nobody wanted, or perhaps it's just so uncool it gets cool once more. There's this whole subculture of collectors buying bikes that never moved off the shelves, like making leftovers into legends. They store them in sealed garages, vacuum-sealed storage, and climate-controlled basements. And years from now, they're selling them at crazy rates to individuals who simply must have a slice of bizarre motorcycle history. You think nobody wants a 2015 Suzuki TU250X? Wait until 2040, when someone pays $20,000 for one that's still in its crate. But, as with every tale, not all conclusions are tidy. Let's return to those crusher yards for a moment. One ex-dealership manager shared a memory that disturbs me. They had 5 remaining bikes. The company told them they had to ship them back or crush them. The shipping cost? More than the bikes were worth. So one by one, they rolled the bikes into a pit and smashed them. It wasn't an emotional decision. It was logistics. Picture sitting and watching your perfectly good machine torn apart, all because it was 1 year too old and 20 pounds too heavy to qualify for the showroom. I suppose that's when you see it's not always freedom and open highways in your motorcycle life. Sometimes it's hard, and sometimes it's just economics. But let's wrap up with something that'll melt your heart. Because for every bike that ends up crushed or auctioned off, there are stories of bikes that find the perfect rider at the perfect time. I'm talking about that one teenager who walks into a dealership with his dad, looking for a cheap beginner bike. And there it is, a leftover model, collecting dust, forgotten by most. He receives a heavy discount, and the dealership makes room for a new bike. And that kid? He rides that thing daily like it's a $20,000 super bike. Years down the line, he still recalls his first love. Not because it was speedy or flashy, but because it was his. And that's the beauty of it. Unsold motorcycles are not failures. They're just waiting for the right road, the right rider, the right moment. Sometimes it lasts a month, sometimes a decade. But when the stars properly align, boom, away they go to fulfill their destiny. Now that's a wrap, guys. So if you enjoyed it, make sure to watch our previous video about 20 almost perfect European bikes. And while you're at it, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more crazy content.